Hey YouTube, we're going to talk a little bit about Thunderwing from the Transformers Generations collection. The whole point of the Generations collection is to talk about different elements of the Transformers mythos. And Thunderwing, oh, I can't believe I just did that. Thunderwing represents a section from comic book only characters, kind of like Drift and Straxus. And so far, Drift has been moving along. Straxus really was only or Darkmount, as his figure is called, was really only featured in, I think it was 2 or 3 issues. Anyway, it's something he featured around with Blaster and Scrounge. So maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get a Scrounge figure one of these days. Maybe turn into a wheel. But Thunderwing here was featured quite often. He was a Simon Furman character, really given a great personality, mostly because he was crazy. He was one of very few Transformers, Decepticons, and Autobots alike that has a sensitivity to the Matrix. And they had a whole Matrix Quest mini-series. He messed around with some of the Triggerbots and things like that. So generally a very cool character. Little underutilized perhaps in the end. I think it ended up being a little bit overshadowed by Bludgeon once you get towards the last handful of issues of that series. But cool figure, made for some kind of a neat thing. Very simple transformation though when you get down to it. Not too bad underneath here, not too many robot-y parts. When you see him on shelves, they'll have him packaged something a little bit like this. And with real bad VHS, but don't worry because this chest bit just covers that up there. Makes for kind of a neat thing. Neat colors, good use of the orange. Not a big fan of the orange. I generally don't keep my figures outside of these Seekers with their missiles in there, but these actual ones look kind of cool, I think. So let's go ahead and get him transformed, show off some of his features. Under this landing gear here, we're just going to flip that right out, and we're going to pop out his little drone. So that's kind of a cool little nod to the original Ultra Class Pretender toy, where the it had the multiple jets. The Pretender shell itself turned into kind of a jet, and then you had him as the little jet that was supposed to kind of go inside. So cool little nod there. So we're gonna pop out his wings here on both sides. That'll give us a little bit more clearance. And then what we're gonna do, and as always, we're not necessarily following a strict order for anything. We're gonna go ahead and pop this on down just to get it out of our way. We're gonna angle this down here, and we're just gonna pop his rear wings up just like that. There we go. And they're on that one of those sassy hinge joints. We can just pop it right along there. Oh, and I almost forgot. Make sure you pop his tail fins into their downward position so he sits nice and pretty and relatively flush there. So in a good way. And we're going to go ahead and pop that on down there, and it's going to be sitting pretty. Move these down. I like to keep them like this. When you have his legs out and everything, you can keep them out, you can keep them in, what have you. And there we have a very short Thunderwing. But we're not done yet. Oh, and this joint here, at least on mine, likes to slide out his arm pretty easy. But it all just pops right back in. Easy peasy. So there we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab him by the crotch. We're going to lift that up right there, and we're going to just pull his legs right on down. We can show that again. There we go. And it looks like they should lay more flat than they do, but they don't. So there's just that, and we'll go ahead and I've got his landing gear out. That just sits right along his shins there. We'll just pop those right back in. And we'll go ahead and pop him back together. He's got his feet, which make his rear afterburners. And we're just going to pop them open. Again, that's another thing. It looks like they should become more flat than they do. But they don't. Don't try to force it. You'll break it. And we'll do the same thing to the other one. There we go. Cool. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is the entire Thunderwing transformation sequence. You know, that is all she wrote. You know, not a whole lot going on in terms of that transformation. Looks cool when he's posed and so forth. Looks menacing. They really got a good design, I think, on him overall in terms of his original appearances. Looks cool in the jet form. The underside could use a little work. I would like to have more hidden parts, but that's really something more for Masterpiece anyways, so, you know, no big deal. In terms of his articulation, the arms, of course, and let's see if I pop mine off. They're going to move back and forth at the bicep. Elbows bend, and he twists at the wrist. These little guys kind of can be remembered. Oh, and of course he has up and down movement in the shoulder blades. Head, no real movement up and down, so I hope he doesn't need to look up. But head does rotate 360 degrees. Usual amount of movement in the hip, front, back, side to side. My left leg on mine is really tight. Oh, there it goes. But yes, he does have the usual bend or swivel at the thigh. Knees bend. Foot has a little bit of travel up and down. Mostly you can kind of, you know, put his toe in or put his heel in. And just a very small amount of lateral movement there as well. Of course, if you want to make him look very ominous, you can put his wings out a little bit, make them look kind of like wings. He had that cool quad barrel cannon shotgun thing in the comics series. We didn't get that here. We did get, however, let's see if we can stand up, as we did get these two purple missile launchers, spring-loaded like everything. Here we go. We'll pop those back in. If you want to create the quad barrel look, what you can do is they've got these pegs right here and then slots right there. You can just slot them together, and you know, with the little missile guys on here, it kind of makes for that look. You know, use your imagination. It's still kind of neat. Looks a little bit unbalanced. Oh, and I launched both missiles into my own hand. Delightful. I'll pop those back in there. And pop that in there. Oops. What am I doing wrong? Bear with me, YouTube. Anyway, there he is. So, but, you know, it's kind of typical of the overpowered nature that was Thunderwing. The box art describes his single-minded adherence to finishing the mission at all costs. Just kind of makes him sound a little bit like the Phase Sixers that they introduced in, what was that, Extinction or Eradication, Evacuation, Embalmment, you know, the IDW series, when they talked about, like, six-shot, things like that, so. But, actually, look, I think this looks a little better when you have it over in his other hand. So, very cool figure overall, and just in terms of having him, he was pretty cool in the series. Wish his transformation had a little bit more, more of an intricate nature. What I do think, though, is that this figure has the best light piping of any of the current generation of toys, or any of the ones that they put the light piping on. This orange is just phenomenal. It really like catches every little bit of light and puts it right on through. They didn't paint it over like they did where they ruined sound waves. So yeah. Cool toy if you're looking to finish up your purchase. I personally was looking for some more Decepticons. They were a little bit outnumbered by the Autobots, which then just made the Autobots seem to me to be a little lame, because, you know, they've got this many of them and they constantly are getting taken out by the cons. So big fan, and thanks for checking out this video. Hope you'd like to subscribe. Please leave me some comments, and I'll catch you next time for another We Talk TV review.